Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Minna Ayman al-Hallaq, and today my presentation is going to be about feminist criticism. We are going to talk about what feminist criticism is, how and when it started, what the main concern of it, pioneers of the movement, and one of them, Simone de Beauvoir, and an application of this reading on the prologue. Feminist criticism is an approach that examines how gender power relations are presented in literature and art, of any culture. It highlights the female experiences, how they are presented, how they are silenced, for example, in literature. How and when it started? To know exactly when this movement started is hard because it existed, the proto-feminism, for example, in Victorian era. We can notice that in some works of Charlotte Brontë and George Eliot, but the organized feminism began in mid-19th century, in New York. There are 4 waves of the movement. The first wave focused on the basic rights, like voting. The second one focused on equality of workplace and social liberation. And the third and fourth introduced the issues of women through technology and social media. What are the main concerns of this movement? Gender roles and presentation, how women are represented or presented in literature, women's oppression, how oppression of men affected women socially, economically, politically, and emotionally through history. Women as secondary. Women were often treated as less important than men and were excluded from positions or authority. It focuses on these issues. For cultural discrimination against women, how women were represented through religious and other types of literature. We can see the story of Adam and Eve when they fell from heaven. Eve, the woman, was associated with temptation and sin. Pioneers of the movement. We have Mary Wollstonecraft. This is the mother of Mary Shelley in the Romantic era. Virginia Woolf, she's a Victorian one. Simone de Beauvoir, we are going to talk about her right now, and Alice Walker. Simone de Beauvoir, she is a feminist, and she wrote a book. Her book is The Second Sex. And she argues that women have historically been treated as inferior to men, and defined only in relation to male authority. One quote of her book: "One is not born, but rather becomes a woman." She argues that gender roles are not biological, but was created by society, and women are treated like the other, and they are defined through men's point of view. Men are viewed as the center of society, power, and intellect, and were associated with reason, strength, and authority, while women were viewed as secondary, dependent, and inferior, and associated with emotion, weakness, and passivity. Her ideas influenced feminist literary criticism by asking how female characters are represented, how literature reinforces gender stereotypes, how male authors portray women, and so on. Now, feminist reading on Anne Bradstreet, the prologue. This poem was written during the 17th century when Puritan society restricted women to domestic responsibilities and denied them participation in intellectual life. Okay? She challenges that by using creativity, by using irony, allusion, and humility sometimes. Feminist themes. Okay, the prologue criticizes restrictive gender roles and exposes the unfair treatment faced by women writers. She gives a voice to the woman, and they deserve to be acknowledged, and their writing exists, and it has something special. Okay, now the symbol of the needle. Here, Anne shows a conflict between society's expectations and her ambitions as a writer. The needle symbolizes traditional female duties, while the pen symbolizes intellectual and creative expression. Here, Anne Bradstreet claims that war, kings, and politics are two superior things for her mean pen. Okay, she is humiliating her pen by saying that it is mean. We can notice that wars, kings, politics were associated with men, and she says that, okay, I'm not going to talk about them. I'll leave them for men. Okay, maybe the tone is humble, but feminist critics says that it is irony. Okay, it is an indirect form of resistance. Gender bias against women writers. When women write, they say that it is stolen or it was written by chance. They refuse to recognize women's achievements. So she is kind of seeking an acknowledgement. Okay, here she's describing her pen or her muse by saying that it is foolish, broken, and blemished. Okay, she repeats negative descriptions because society expected women to doubt themselves, while the very act of writing the poem challenges these beliefs. Here she says that men are good and they are perfect ones, but please grant some small acknowledgement of ours. Okay. Beneath her modest tone lies a demand for respect and visibility for women writers, and she accepts here the male superiority. Now she mentions the Greeks. Greeks were the role model for men at that time, and she says that Greeks associated the artistic inspiration to the 9 muses. 9 muses are female characters, and she says that if they are your role model while you are now, don't acknowledge us, the women, as good writers. Okay. Now she is struggling for recognition. She says, give thyme or parsley wreath, I ask no base. Base symbolizes the highest poetic honor, while thyme and parsley symbolizes small recognitions. recognition. So she asked men to acknowledge women writers instead of ignoring them by giving them a small thing like thyme or parsley. Now she's saying that she and other women are like the ore rock, rock that where the gold is found. She says that maybe I'm not perfect. We are not perfect. Our writings are not that good, but we exist. And in this situation, our writings will give you superiority and will let you shine more. That's my presentation, and thanks for listening.